Hello and welcome everyone to another day. It's day 17 or 16. Yeah, it's day 16. Let me set the camera first. Yep, it's done. Okay, so it's day 16, and I'm going to read the chapter 2 of the Factfulness. And yesterday, the introduction I read, and it was not only an introduction but far better than the mindset that the author actually tries to build up. So that was all about the chapter 1. So he said that if we have an open mind, and if we think that okay, the world is not actually divided into two, like we and them, then we should go ahead and read the book. And I hope this is live streaming. I need to check the connection though. Yep, so just be with me for a moment and I will check. Yep, it's working. This for some reason I can see that it's not exactly streaming on Facebook. Maybe anyways, we are live streaming. Yeah, it's also where I'm also live on Facebook as well. So yeah, thankfully I'm live. Okay, so again, thank you so much for tuning in and have a good morning. And I'm going to read the chapter 2 today of Factfulness. I really like hardcovers, as you know. The solid fill is right. You can hear the voice in the mic. So, yep, it's good. Um, so, without any further ado, let's get started. Here is the bookmark. To a great mind, nothing is little, right? And very important, if you have something to mark. If you are reading with me, then it's good to go. So again, the chapter name is the negativity instinct. So we have this always negative instinct. So I don't know, maybe that is the reason, that is the thing that the author is going to talk about in this chapter. I don't know, man. I'm just going to read. So, and there is a question like, which statement do you agree with most? Okay, so the world is getting better, the world is getting worse, the world is getting neither better nor worse. I think the world is getting better as per the data points we saw in the chapter 1. It's not like I'm trying to just guess the correct answer. I felt that okay, it is getting better because I have watched his talk, and also Bill Gates talk about his work as well, and I think that's the answer. I will check it out though. Okay. So here the author actually shared a memory of the childhood. So how his grandparents actually used to bath him in the kitchen sink. It's like a sewage. So a lot of towns dust and all the sewage things actually used to came there in the through the rain sometime as well. So he used to actually so his grandma actually used to make him bath in all of this shit, I would say. So that was his actually time. And he also said that his mother was suffering from the tuberculosis, and his father worked for 10 hours a day shift. So he mostly lived with his grandparents. So there was a time that he just shared his memory, so that he was in the at the age of 4. That was a memory he shared, right? I'm going to restart the camera, please, so don't worry about it. I was actually facing some delays in the stream. I hope it's fixed now. Okay. So he said that we have a misconception that the world is getting worse, but he also said that said all the negative things also here, like the um, fatalities of Second World War is like uh, the fatalities that actually happened in the Second World War. It is also happening in the Syrian war as well, like this. So and the terrorism is also increasing again, and overfishing and deterioration of seas are actually happening because the sea levels are actually increasing, and in 100 years it's going to be 3 feet over the next 100 years, right? So it's a very worrisome news actually, right? Because the greenhouse gases are keep increasing, and we are only pumping greenhouse gases to this world. Even if we stop doing that, it will take a lot of time to actually heal our mother nature, right? And also there are some collapse actually happening on the US US housing market. So if you don't know that there was a crash in the share market in the time of 2008, it was the huge market crash in the US, which actually impacts Asian countries like India as well. So yeah, that has a huge impact, and it is not written in details, but that itself is an interesting story to read, right? That why really happened that market crash, right? So and yeah, so there are a lot of things that is going bad in this world. But when he asked all the people in the 30 countries, all the best top of the people in 30 countries, and they have been asked this question, like, do you think the world is getting better, getting worse, or staying about the same? So this is what they said, and let's go ahead and see what they said actually. So he said one thing, that we should not never trust data blindly, because if the gap is so small, if the percentage is lower, we should not actually believe that, because suppose a 10% you are seeing that okay, 10% people actually believe this thing, you should not believe this data. If it is more than 10%, if it is going bigger, then there is a chances that data may be right. So in that case, he says that okay, do not just blindly trust the data. So here is the thing, he not only talk about like data, he talk about concrete data set, right? It is not like that okay, he found some data somewhere and says that the world is getting better. So this mentality actually shows the author's mentality as well, that how he actually thinks about data. It's not like that he found somewhere some in the internet that this data available and the world is getting that somehow shows that the world is getting better. It's not like that. He actually relies on the type of data and how the data is actually impacting the world in general, right? So here is a nice thing I want to quote from this book. It is easy to be aware of all the bad things happening in the world. It's harder to know about the good things. Billions of improvement that are never reported, right? We are actually known about the bad things happening in the world, and it's obvious. A lot of social medias and people, and even people like us, like to talk about the things. If something goes wrong, we like to talk about things like that. If something goes really well, goes something that is really good in the world, we hardly share this or think about it, like, right? Suppose take this one, I'm 30-day taking 30-day reading challenge, and you're not sharing this. You're doing wrong, injustice to the world, right? I'm just kidding. So you don't need to share it with anyone if you just want to follow me. So these are all the handles that you can see right now on the screen. So yeah, I'm ImpleBooks everywhere. You can just need to search it. Thank you. So here I want to read this line as well. Like, so this says, As long as people have a worldview that is so much more negative than the reality, pure statistics can make them feel more positive. It is comforting as well as inspiring to learn that the world is much better than you think. A new kind of happy pill, completely free online. So these data sets are all free on the online. You can go ahead and check them, that whether this data is correct or not, and yeah, obviously check for that whether this is going beyond 10%, so you can understand the validity of the data, right? So the that question, when I think I got it right in the chapter 1. So he asked all these questions. If you haven't watched live stream of yesterday, the author Hans Rosling actually asked a lot of questions with multiple choice in the chapter 1. And there was a question where he asked in the last 20 years, the proportion of the world population living in extreme poverty has almost doubled, remained more or less the same, or almost halved. So the poverty rate actually almost halved over the last 20 years. So when he asked this question in the online polls, only 10% actually knew this, right? So it's all about the mindset, that how people actually think about the world, that we are thinking that a lot of people are thinking that okay, the world is not getting any better. So it's obvious for us to if we find any questions like this, we'll go for the negative one right, or the incorrect one, right? Here I want to stop reading and talk about this, because this is interesting. uh, he said that he asked this question again: how old were you 20 years ago? Close your eyes for a second and remember your younger self. How much has your world changed? A lot? A little? So that is the question that needs to be asked. And if we really go back in time and see that our life actually has changed a lot, yes, there are always be negative things, but if you see the world in general, we have lot of privileges nowadays, if we compare it to the previous time. Now we can even a child can ask for a smartphone to their parents, and in our time it was like impossible for asking for a gadget which costs in India like around 10 more than 10,000 rupees. So it's amazing that people nowadays can afford this thing, even not for them or for their children as well, so they can provide this extremely that is not needed something, I would say. So they can give their they can go to some places which a lot of people may find it hard to go, like due to the money. So people can take vacations and all. So yeah, right, that's right. And if we think about it, the world has changed a lot, and for the better actually. Negative things will always be there, and our job is to eliminate these things. And here is the question that is asked about, like, what is the how many people are like poor nowadays, if you compare it to the like to 20 years ago. It's almost halved. So here is a statistics of I'm happy that the statistics of India has also come in this book. It says that in 1997, 42% of the population of both India and China were living in extreme poverty in 1997. And I can because I was so small at that time, but I could understand that, okay, yeah, that can be the reason, because in 1990s people were not that much you know privileged, I would say, in terms of adding extra benefits to their life. They were, yes, they were eating food, they had some plate to eat the food, but they were not living a life that we are living right now. We focus much on the experience of the life rather than like focusing on the mundane or trivial things in life. So yeah, if I myself compare the life of the 1990s, I have seen people, they were so much poor in compared to the today's world, because in today people really have some privileges that in the time of 1990s they didn't have actually. So even the people who were in a better stage, they didn't actually have that much access to that much privilege, I would say. So yeah, world, if you see in this way, if you just close your eyes and see your younger self 20 years ago, you will see that the world is changing. So that's the statement I quite like from this book. So here I want to read these lines again. Well, this is how much the world has changed just 20 years ago. Just 20 years ago, 29% of the world population lived in extreme poverty. Now that number is 9%. Okay, so it was like 20% and 9%. Just look at the shift in 20 years, right? Today almost everybody has escaped hell. The original source of all human suffering is about to be eradicated. We should plan a big party, and when I say we, I mean humanity. Okay, so he's saying that it's a time to actually do a party as a humanity, because a lot of good things has happened. It's not like things are getting worse, it's actually things are getting better. So yeah, like this. Okay, here is a question about the life expectancy, and let's see what he has to say again. So he also asked this question yesterday, chapter we read, that what is the life expectancy of this world today, and I have answered it correctly. I'm very happy. It's 70 years, right? So I should not be so much happy that I answered this question correctly. It says this is one of the questions where the better educated you are, the more ignorant you seem to be. A lot of people actually make it correct. US actually answered 43% correct, Canada was like 43% again, and France was like Finland was like 30%, Sweden 21%. So a lot of countries actually answered better in this case. So yeah, we know about this answer, right? Most people actually answered 60 years. He says that people actually think that the life expectancy in this world is now is 60 years, but he said that no, it's 70. Even it's much better. It's 72, right? Uh, so here is one thing. I don't know whether he talks about this in this book or not. Here is one thing that I want to talk about. This thing is we think that life expectancy, where life expectancy is all about like how much. It's not about only that how much live you longer, how much all the babies that are being born is actually living. So it's the sum of this sum of the average. So if you're thinking that, okay, you may say that life expectancy on the 1970s were better than today. No, it's not. It was much smaller, like 60. Okay, so the reason is that a lot of children used to die at that time. So if you find out the sum and average it, you will see that life expectancy were very less in the time of 1970s to 1900 1980s, right? So if you're thinking that, okay, people used to live longer earlier, yes, they used to live longer, but a lot of people used to die. So in today's world, babies don't die that much. So there is a lot of less death in today's world. So that's the reason that the life expectancy is much higher if you're living today in terms of the previous times, because in previous times there was not much medical attention to the babies, and they were not privileged enough to actually take care of the baby like today in today's world parents does. So yeah, that's the reason actually. So I'll be back shortly in 2 minutes. So thank you so much again, and we are back. Okay, so there is a tragedy that actually happened in China, where 1960, 15 to 40 million people actually starved to death. This is shocking, guys. I didn't actually know about this. I don't read much history, or in general, I don't take much interest in the world news or anything like that. So that is quite a shock. Like 15 to 40 million people. Like in the coronavirus, how many people actually died? So in China, actually, it's happened. So there was like it was actually a problem of the government advice, and also a bad season. So they could not effectively manage the food fund, I would say. So yeah, so a lot of people actually died, and they tried to keep it secret also. So he asked this question: think about it, could any government keep the death of 15 million people a global secret today? Man. That can happen only in China. Okay, so yeah, that happens. If you like compare this thing in today's world, do you think the world is getting worse? That's the question. I don't know, let's see. So he says that in Sweden, a lot of people actually live in the level 4 of in terms of the wealth. So they are so much wealthy in level 4. You know that people uh, work on much more experience, rather than just thinking about the mundane things like how to get food, or how to get the plate to eat food, so they are they are thinking about like, okay, my that color of my wall is not right, that is peeled off, I need to change it. So that is the kind of thing. They're in a better level, that is called the level 4. So he talks about this graph again. So he says that the in the upper right, the world, they have good income or wealth, and it is on the in terms of the lower health. And India and China is in kind of in the middle, that you see right now. And this the bigger the bubble, the bigger the population is, like India and China, that you see, it's so much bigger in this screen, page, it's not screen, in this page, right? So that is the level that you see right now, and that is the income capita that you see. That is the thing, and this is the lifespan, and all of the things, all of the countries like moving gradually towards this, towards to above. And most of the countries are in the middle, that you see right now. A lot of countries, Somalia, things like that, where pirates are so much there. So these are the things, countries which is in the lower bottom. And but all the countries are like in the middle, most of the countries, and they are moving towards this area, where lifestyle is a lot of improved. In India, it is level 2 that you see right now most of the time, and the China is already moved to level 3, right? So yeah, if you are living in India, you would understand that in average, Indian peoples are actually living, most of the people in India is on the level 2. So yeah. And he says that like a country like Sweden, um, is on this level, right, on the level 4. But he shows a graph here, in the same graph in 1800s for Sweden, right. So just look at the graph, and Sweden was like there, in terms of they started from the part 1, level 1, and check out the graph that is keep going on improving, right. And they're today here. In 200 years they reached so much progress they made in so into in 200 years. That is amazing, that you see right now on this page. So, and no countries have life expectancy below 50 years. All of the countries has good life expectancy. And yeah, that was the thing that is said. So it's the improvement that you can see right in the graph is amazing, right. So here is a good example that he gave. In when Sweden moved to the level 3 in terms of the wealth, uh, his grandmother has access to the cold water tap in the home and latrine bucket in the basement. It is a luxury for that woman, because in their time there was no running water itself. So if his grandmother is getting all this, it is a luxury. So that is the thing, he just tries to compare the thing, like how the time was there then and now. So that's the thing we need to understand, right. So at that moment Sweden had the literacy rate of India as of today, um, at the level of literacy in India. And okay, so yeah. And Sweden's average income was like today's Afghanistan. So if you're thinking that Sweden is a really wealthy country today, but there was the time where their level of they were in the level 1 in terms of the wealth, and they were almost close to or similar to Afghanistan. Here is the thing with confident, that is much confidence the Hans Rosling, the author of this book, has. So let's just read it. Read his words. He says, "Your own country has been improving like crazy too. I can say this with confidence, even though I don't know where you live. Because every country in the world has improved its life expectancy over the last 200 years." Right? In fact, almost every country has improved by almost every measure. So a lot of every country, he has so much confidence that with data he's saying that a lot of all of the countries are improved in a way if you just compare it with the past. And so we need to understand that the world is actually is that's the question is again that whether the world is actually getting better or worse, right? So these are all the data. He's not saying anything that the world is whether getting better or not. So he's just showing you all the thing and comparison, right? So he has provided some graph to say, to show you all the things that is all the bad things that is decreasing. So legal slavery. So at the time of there was a time where there was a slavery was like legal. So if you have watched all, there are some movies like Django Unchained. I would highly recommend that you watch that movie. Oh, it's not written here. I'm just saying you can watch the movie. It's a fabulous movie. And legal slavery was a norm at a time. Uh, so it is decreasing. Oil spills were regularly used to happen. So there used to be chaos due to these oil spills. That is also reducing. And the solar panels were so much expensive, but people nowadays, normal people even can install solar panels if they want to. HIV infections are getting decreased as well because people are no much knowledgeable and understand about the world, and a lot of basic amenities for to control the HIV is also installed in the head of the people, and also provided by the government as well. Children dying is so much lesser, I would say. So just hold a sec here. So the children is dying less today, and you see that after a certain period of time, like 1900s, it started to, the improvement is so much higher that the children dying rate is going down a little, so much fast in this case. And the battle deaths are like almost does not exist in today's world. There obviously happens battles, and you may heard that in border people in India, some countries attack to our Indian border, and which country. So but that's the thing that really happens very less if you compare it to the time of 1900s or 1800s, right? So battle deaths are getting lesser as well. Death penalty is also getting lesser. Leaded gasoline is also getting lesser. Plane crash deaths. Plane crash used to happen in 1900s. I would say I used to listen to this so much that some people were really afraid of getting to the plane because a plane used to crash a lot. So yeah, that was the time when really something like this used to happen, because my parents also used to say that okay, it's a little bit risky, but it's plane, right? And they used to think about getting into the plane as well, even though they know that was risky. But still, the plane crash deaths are also are so much less. It's almost does not exist today in today's world, right? Very less plane actually crash, hardly crash actually. So child labor is also decreasing. It's not like totally decreased, but it is actually decreasing if you compare it to the 1950 to 2012, right? Deaths from disaster is also decreasing, as the author Hans Rosling discussed, because government takes a lot of precautions, and also they are prepared for that what to do. Even if they can't really provide a lot of, in India I would say, even if they can't even provide a lot of amenities to the people who actually suffer from this disaster, but they can save them. India can save people who suffer from the disaster, and even other countries as well maybe. So nuclear arms is also warheads are decreasing, right? Smallpox is check out the number here. It was like 1850 to 1970-75, which was like it's zero. Like there is smallpox is not a thing in today's world. If you catch smallpox, just go to the doctors, take some precautions, and you're good to go. Smoke particles is also decreasing. Ozone depletion is also decreasing as well, because in previous time there was not some system in place that there was some problem in the system, I would say. Then hunger is also decreasing a lot if you compare it from the 1970 to today. It is still there. It is not saying that okay, he's not showing some data, okay, it is totally gone. No, it's not. It's there. New movies are increasing. Good things that is increasing, right? 16 good things. New movies are increasing. You can see a lot of movies even in the pandemic times. Hotstar in India, Hotstar is doing premieres, or they call it Hotstar Multiplex, where what they do is they are releasing movies every day. Even today, a new movie is going to release on the Hotstar, that is called the Lakshmi Bomb by Akshay Kumar starring. So new movies even in this pandemic time is also getting released. That's a really good thing, I would say, because people are really consuming content a lot. And protected nature is actually protected if you compare it to the other time. Women rights to vote. Women actually used to treat in a very bad condition in today's world. If you talk about India, yes, there are cases happened in Hathras which is totally was not right. But if you compare it in general, I'm not talking about a specific incident or specific incidents. I'm talking about the world in general. If you just compare it to the previous time, the woman is actually in a far better state. And if you compare it to especially the right to vote, so people used to see women like they are not someone who have the mind to actually give someone a vote. But that is totally changing today, and it's totally changed. I would say it's not changing, it's changed. Women have that equal right to right as a man to vote as well. So that is totally changed. New music is recording every year. Like so much new music are getting released. So check out the number. I would not say anything. Okay, so And yeah, so because I use apps like Spotify and Ghana, and I see that a lot of new music comes up each and every day. I don't know where they come from. Some suddenly say that okay, there is a new release, and new music are getting released every day. I mean almost every day, right? And yeah, when I talk about Spotify and Ghana, I would say that the ImpleBooks podcast is now available on the Spotify, Ghana, JioSaavn, and all the major streaming music platform as well. So if you want to go ahead and listen to the ImpleBooks podcast, I would highly recommend you go ahead and watch this. Okay, and then science articles published per year is also increasing because people are really getting interested on the science. Harvesting is also increasing. Literacy rate is increasing. It is obvious in India. It's not that much if you compare it to other countries, but state like Kerala and Tripura is really doing good. And I'm a guy who born in Tripura. My hometown is still Tripura, and still not still Tripura. It's my hometown actually. So my parents live there, and there is a thing. The literacy rate is quite good there, and democracy is is also increasing. People are trying to be democratic, and we are really privileged that being a so huge country, our India is managed to be democratic. So there is a good podcast by the Dhruv Rathi, the Mahabharat, which actually explains how India became became a democracy, even being with so many population and so many great leaders out there today. Still India became a democracy, and which is a very good thing that really happened. That gives us a hope about the country as well. We should not think about the country as it's like going down or anything like that. Bad things are always happening, and good things are happening in a much faster pace as well, but we don't listen to them, right? Child cancer survival rate is also improving. It's a good improvement that we see. Girls in school is going a lot. If we compare it to the 1970s, 65% used to go there, now 90% in 2015. Monitored species is like 87,967. If you compare it to a lot of species are getting discovered daily. It's not daily, it's like in a day-to-day basis. Electricity coverage is a lot of people have electricity. Mobile phones, I don't need to tell you anything. That just look at the graph. It's a rocket space. Okay, and then water, people has a lot of access to the clean water. So that is the thing. Internet, again, mobile phone and internet, they are going like hand by hand, hand in hand. It's going. Immunization, people have better immunity if you compare it to the previous times, because people in previous times, people used to catch fever that used to they used to die after that kind of things actually used to happen when British actually used to rule India. That kind of fever used to exist. There are a lot of things that were related to the immunity, but it's totally increasing. So that is the 1 year old who got at least one vaccination, because vaccination is actually there, so the immunity is getting improved, right? So immunity is not something that you are there is something that is inborn, but you need the vaccination to actually solve the problem that already exists in the world, like polio and other hepatitis B and every other vaccination out there, right? Okay. Here is one thing I want to quote from this. The goal of higher income is not just bigger piles of money. The goal of longer lives is not just extra time. The ultimate goal is to have the freedom to do what we want. See, in today's world, the day before yesterday, I was reading the book Ikigai Live, as you know. A lot of people are doing stuff that they really don't like to do, or maybe they're doing just for the sake of doing, because our environment or our society expect us to do this thing. Because 9 to 5 job is not something, it's not bad or anything like that, but if it is something that you're doing just for the sake of doing, that people or society is asking for you to do, or just you need to bring your food to the table, that's why you're doing it. obviously you're not doing that stuff that you wanted to do, right? So I'm not judging anyone. I'm not saying that it's bad. I also have a 9 to 5 job. It's not 9 to 5, it's 9 to 7, 10 to 7 job, I would say. It's a much bigger length, right? But the thing here is, it's not to argue about the point, it's good or bad, but the thing is that the point is you are not doing the thing that you wanted to do. If you wanted to do a 9 to 5 job, that was your dream, and you really love that, please do that. There is no problem. But a lot of people are not doing that actually. So they are taking their work as like, okay, I have to do this work. So they are not 100% committed or devoted to the work that they are doing, right? So it's very important that you really